My advisory role at NIAC, which I used to have, is because I am an expert on religion and politics. So I advise the Plowshares Fund. I advise NIAC. I advise the fucking State Department. I advise actual Congress people who are making these decisions about what to do with Iran. I'm an expert in Iran, so I advise those groups. I have no loyalty or membership to NIAC. I'm not here to speak for NIAC.
To be fair, you don't advise the other side, though. You're strictly advising the progressive side. You're not advising
100%,
which they support the nuclear deal, which you support as well.
100% support the nuclear deal.
So you support negotiating with a nation that says "Marg bar Amerika," death upon America. You're comfortable negotiating with a country that hates us.
In this debate, Reza Aslan silences Patrick Bet-David on his own show over Iran, US, and the foreign policy and whether diplomacy actually works. Reza Aslan knows this region inside out, lays out why negotiating with Iran isn't just some naive move, but a strategic decision even backed up by global powers. On the other hand, Patrick Bet-David insists that you can't negotiate with hostile nations like this, and acting like sanctions or military action are the only options. But Reza Aslan knows that's just not true. So make sure to stick around till the end to see how Reza Aslan silences Patrick Bet-David on his own show.
Oh, I'm sorry, who do we negotiate? We only negotiate with countries that love us? Is that how negotiations work? Have you heard of the phrase diplomacy?
But diplomacy,
there is no negotiation with a country that actually agrees with you.
But
we negotiate with countries that disagree with us.
I totally get that. But for the most part, the countries we negotiate with that disagree with us, they don't say death upon Americans. Iran says death upon Americans, the top of the Iran. This is not even the people in the streets.
Who gives a fuck? So what?
So give $150 billion? That's a valid concern. That's a valid question.
First of all, it's their money that we are releasing in exchange for removing nuclear weapons from Iran. How do you suggest we remove nuclear weapons from Iran, Patrick?
Okay, I have ideas for you. I can give it to you. Not to remove nuclear weapons. First of all, do you believe no matter whether we give them the money or not, they're not going to continue working on nuclear weapons?
They literally didn't. Hold on. Nope. We're not going to move past this until we establish the facts. The jcpoa, which was negotiated by the United States, Russia, China, the Security Council, and Germany, which is extraordinary. The idea that those 5 countries came together, and the European Union, and agreed on anything, let alone agreed on this absolutely remarkable deal under the Obama administration to remove all the enriched uranium out of Iran. There is zero doubt that that worked. Zero. The IAEA came out in no uncertain terms and said, within 12 months of that deal being put in place, Iran no longer had the enriched uranium to create a nuclear bomb. Within 12 months...
You have to be naive to believe that.
Okay.
You have to be,
right.
but fair enough. Let's buy into the naivete and move forward.
Okay,
let's just say you're right. Let's say you're right.
Let's not believe the people on the ground who are actually monitoring the nuclear plants.
To believe somebody that believes in the values that they do, yes, I don't believe that.
Reza Aslan is making it pretty clear that diplomacy isn't just about negotiating with countries that already like you. It's about keeping the ones that don't in check. And when it comes to Iran's nuclear deal, the numbers back him up. Within a year of the deal, Iran's very enriched uranium pile was just slashed, and even the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, confirmed it. And it's understandable that Patrick Bet-David is throwing out the usual skepticism. Was Iran really following the rules, or were they just playing around until they weren't? It's not the worst question to ask, but when you've got actual reports from the IAEA showing that the deal did what it was supposed to, the question just falls flat. The real issue here is whether the US sticks to these agreements or just abandons them under the assumption that diplomacy with Iran is pointless.
You would have chosen to come to...
I think you've got a nostalgia for the days of the Shah.
I don't have a nostalgia.
Me a lot of like Make America Great Again.
But this to me takes you back to why NIAC gets the criticism that it does. Because for you, you're saying give $150 billion to those guys, to Iran. It's their money. It's their money anyway. But you're saying it's their money anyways.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Begu.
We have 2 options with Iran's nuclear program. 2 options and nothing else. 2 options. Period.
We have a third option.
What's the third option?
I'll give you the third option.
Option 1, we blow the shit out of it.
Okay.
Option 2, we use negotiation and diplomacy. What's your third option?
Very simple. It's very simple what you do with option 3. Option 3 is the same exact thing that happened in different nations. Iran is going through a potential revolution today.
Hold on. I want to make it clear.
Please.
I am talking about 2012. I am not talking about 2022. I have never said we should renegotiate the nuclear program now. You're asking me, did I support the JCPOA
versus today?
Today,
Well,
there's no country to negotiate.
Let me tell you.
But let me make sure
I'm glad you
before
clarified
Twitter
that.
loses its fucking mind.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I am not saying
Fair.
that
You're
we
going back
should
10
be
years.
negotiating
Fair.
now.
So then,
Was it right in 2012? 100%.
let me make
was
my
right.
point. Let me make my point on what I'm thinking, and I want to hear your rebuttal on this and your argument on this. For me, it's the following. Have you heard of John Perkins, the economic hitman guy, the author? He's a hardcore progressive.
yeah.
Very, very interesting guy. I had him on 2 times. I really like talking to that guy. And it's very interesting, his arguments, what they did, to cause nations to go down. Do you think the current model and the government today in Iran is good for its people and good for the world?
Fuck no.
Okay, fair. We're on the same page. So is it fair to say that if we can figure out a way to help the Iranian people, not the government, the Iranian people to cause a fall in Iran, that's probably a good, noble thing for us to do?
That has been my goal for 20 years.
Fantastic. Then if doing that, your mission of wanting to do that, which NIAC's mission is for the people, policy to help with the people, that doesn't align with the rulers and the president and the people that run Iran. You guys don't share a common value.
You disagree. You're wrong. You're absolutely
wrong. So you're telling me the foreign minister Javad Zarif, like you're saying his ideal situation is to bring democracy to Iran?
No. What you're saying is, can we pursue policies in the United States to help the people of Iran? And have we been? My answer is we have not been. We have not. 40 years of blanket sanctions has not helped the people of Iran.
You know what won't take 40 years though? Hitting that like and subscribe button. So make sure to go hit it. It really helps the channel a lot.
It has only entrenched the government further, and there's reams of academic data that indicates that. The question is, does for instance, nuclear deal, the JCPOA in 2012, would that have helped the government or the people? And there is very good, real, meaningful arguments to be made that it would only help the government. I disagree, because there are much better arguments that it would only help people. Why? Goes back to your God, capitalism, the free market. The Iranian people live in an oppressive, murderous, theocratic regime. And as a part of American policy, we have decided that we're going to blanket sanction everyone in the hopes that eventually they'll rise up and take down their government.
No.
4 decades. 4 decades we've been doing that.
Patrick, but David keeps acting like diplomacy means negotiating with friends, but Reza Aslan just shuts them down really quick here. No, that's literally the whole point. Talking to countries that don't like you. Then Patrick tries to brush off the nuclear deal as if it didn't work. But Reza just fires back at him with actual facts. The IAEA confirmed that Iran already eliminated its enriched uranium supply. Then there's just $150 billion argument. Patrick makes it sound like the US just handed Iran cash. But Reza just corrects him, pointing out how it was Iran's own frozen assets. And when Patrick pushes for some magic alternative to diplomacy, Reza lays it out. After 40 years of failed sanctions, negotiation or war are the only options here.
So if I negotiate with a murderer, you think he's accustomed to following the rules? If I negotiate with a nation, with a government like theirs, you think they follow what's in the contracts? There's
simple.
No way you believe that.
I understand that you have this mystical view of what the Iranian government is that exists in this kind of existential plane of evil.
I just listen to what they say. No, I just listen to what they say.
But they are actual people who care about their own livelihood and they care about nothing else.
I do think they care about their livelihood. The government people care about their wealth. I do agree with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but I'm talking about its people. That's what I'm talking about.
And what I'm saying is, right now, we have nothing but the stick. We have no carrot at all in Iran. There's nothing that United States
You're giving carrot to the wrong guy. You're giving carrot to the guy that's got plenty of carrots. He's been overdosing on carrot.
We're giving carrot to the economy.
No, you're not giving a carrot to the economy.
Here's how interdependent trade relationships work.
I'm a Syrian and Armenian. Let me tell you what both sides will say. You ready? Here's a criticism. Both sides will say. And I want to wrap it up. We'll go off. If you're up for part 2, 3 hours, I'm up for bringing you back. You have no idea how much I've enjoyed it. I'm being serious with you.
Serious.
Okay, so I'll tell you this. Armenian is Syrian. Bet David Bogosyan. Bedavit, Assyrian, Bogosian, Armeni. Okay? You know, every time when people say, hey, let me tell you what's going on. Send money to this charity. Send money to go help the Assyrians. How come you're not giving money here? And I'll send money. You know what both sides of my family will say? Never send money. You know why?
Because it goes to the wrong people.
Because it never goes to its people.
Yes.
You said it. You know this reputation. So if you and I are giving money, 150 billion to the government, we have to be naive to believe it's going to end up to its people. That's what I'm saying.
It's not going to end up to its people, and that's
we're strengthening
JCPOA,
that.
It's something different.
Okay, anyway.
But hold on. I need to say one last thing, because if you probably know anything about me, you know that I get cut up and re-edited, and there's an entire industry online meant to make me look in a certain way.
That's not us. We don't do that.
I want to say something. I want to say a final word here, because it's very important.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this final word will make it. I have absolutely nothing but loathing for the Iranian government, for the Islamic Republic. It is a murderous, terroristic regime that slaughters its own children. It has no legitimacy whatsoever. It belongs in the dustbin of history. The only proper response of this current revolution, and it is a revolution, is not for reform. It's not for a little bit more rights. It's to burn the whole thing down and start all over again, and I wholeheartedly support that. The question is, how do we empower those young people? How do we give them the tools necessary in order to burn it down?
Okay. And wrapping this up, Patrick Medvedev just spent the whole debate arguing that negotiating with Iran is pointless, while Reza just kept bringing him back to reality. Diplomacy isn't just about talking to your friends, it's about dealing with your enemies. Patrick kept pushing the idea that the US was just giving Iran money, but Reza just keeps shooting him down really quickly, pointing out how it was Iran's own frozen assets, released in exchange for nuclear compliance. Patrick also won't accept that Iran actually followed the nuclear deal, but the IEA confirmed that they did. And that's the whole issue. Reza pointed out how the sanctions haven't weakened Iran's government, they've just made it stronger by isolating the people and enriching the regime. Meanwhile, Patrick kept circling back to the same failed areas for some reason, just refusing to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, that doing the same thing for 40 years with no result is just not the best strategy. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your comments down below.